Hello everyone, today in this video I am going to deal with the chapter of class 10th, its 5th chapter of first flight. The 100 Dresses-1 written by L. Visor St. Now before moving to the text, let me give you the outline of the chapter. Generally what we do, we human beings tend to judge different people. We tend to judge people on the basis of wealth, money, possession, clothes, names. Similarly, in this chapter, there is a child who is judged, who is mocked at, who is made fun by other classmates because of her names, because of her dressing. This story is a sensitive account of how a poor girl is judged by her classmates. Wanda Petronsky is a young Polish girl who goes to school with other American child in an American town. These other children see Wanda as different in many ways, and they used to make fun of her. She used to make fun of her name, of her dress, and she is treated as if she is no one. She is treated as an insignificant one in the classroom. Whosoever wants can make fun of her. Now let's see. Let's move to the text. Let's see what happened then. How she was able to cope up, or she surrendered to the situation. Today, Monday, Wanda Petronsky was not in her seat, but nobody, not even Peggy and Madeline, the girl who started all the fun, noticed her absence. Usually, Wanda sat in the seat next to the last seat in the last row in room 30. She sat in the corner of the room where the rough boys who did not make good marks sat. The corner of the room where there was most scuffling of feet, most roars of laughter when anything funny was said, and most mud and dirt on the floor. So the chapter starts with the day, that is Monday, and this Wanda Petronsky, who is the central character of this story, is not seen in her seat. She is not present. She is absent. But no one noticed her absence. Even the Peggy and Madeline. The Peggy and Madeline, these two girls started making fun of her, and she was the one who was the leader of the group who made fun of Wanda Petronsky. But today, even when she is absent, even they did not have paid any attention about her absence. And this Wanda, she used to sit in the seat which was in the last row. In the last seat, she used to sit in the last row, in the last seat of room number 30. And where she used to sit, even that area is being differentiated. Even that area is being judged. That area is, you can say, left alone area. That area had the most scuffling of feet. Scuffling of feet, it means noisy, dragging movement of the feet on the ground. So that area was the most noisy area of the classroom, from where most of the sounds, most of the noise, most of the disturbance used to come. And not only about the disturbances, not only because of the disturbance which was being created by this area, it was also being differentiated and judged on the basis of mud and dirt on the floor. So that area was not even clean. It may be that the area that area, the students who were sitting in that area had muddy feet or may have dirt in their feet, and that's why the area become dirty and muddy. So this is how we can see that in a same classroom the area was divided and the students were judged on the basis of the seat they occupy. Vanda did not sit there because she was rough and noisy. On the contrary, she was very quiet and rarely said anything at all, and nobody had ever heard her laugh out loud. Sometimes she twisted her mouth into a crooked sort of a smile, but that was all. So Vanda, she used to sit in the last row in the last seat. It was not because she was noisy, she was disturbing element. She was the one who created nuisance in the class, but even though she used to sit there, she used to sit in the area from where most of the nuisance, disturbance comes in the classroom. It is being said that she was quite calm. She never even said a word, a single word. Just only she used to laugh, just even that, not with a wide open mouth, even that she used to do with just a twisted mouth. And no one had ever seen or heard her talking loudly or laughing loudly. Then see, what was the reason why she was being judged and differentiated? Nobody knew exactly why Vanda sat in that seat, unless it was because she came all way from Boggin's height, and her feet was usually kicked with dry mud. But no one really thought much about Vanda Petronsky once she sat in the corner of the room. So it may be the reason was not clear. No one was sure that why she used to sit in the last seat and why student used to make fun of her. Or the reason is not given that why she used to sit all alone in the last corner of the seat. Then it is said that perhaps she used to come from Boggin's height. It may be this area, may be the low region of that town, and that is why it may be that she used to feel low and therefore she feel herself alienated and she used to sit all alone away from other children. And she came from Boggin's height, which is low area, and while coming on her way to school, her feet used to get decked with sand, dirt, mud, and this is why she was being differentiated. The time when they thought about Vanda was outside of school hours. At noon time, when they were coming back to school, or in the morning early before school began, when groups of 2 or 3 or even more would be talking and laughing on their way back to a schoolyard. So no one used to care about her in the school campus. Once she took her seat, then no one even noticed that whether she is sitting, she is sleeping, she went outside, no one noticed her. Her presence was never felt in the classroom. The only 2 times when her presence was felt, that was in the morning before the school used to begin, and in the noon time when student used to return back to school. So during that leisure time, student used to wait for her in a group out of the yard. So when they were returning back to school or coming early in the morning to the school, at that time only she was being spoken about and she was being discussed about, or the people used to think about her. Then sometimes they waited for Vanda to have fun with her. So twice a day, that is early in the morning and in the noon while they were returning back to school. At this two time they used to wait for Vanda, they used to talk about Vanda. Why? The reason was they used to collectively in a group, they used to form a group and they used to wait for her and they used to make fun of her, they used to mock her. Now it's about next day. The next Tuesday Vanda was not in school either and nobody noticed her absence again. So she was absent on Monday, again she is absent on Tuesday, but again no one noticed that whether she is present or absent. But on Wednesday, Peggy and Maddie, who sat down front with other children who got good marks and who did not track in a whole lot of mud, did notice that Vanda wasn't there. Peggy was the most popular girl in school. She was pretty, she had many pretty clothes and her hair was curly. Maddie was her closest friend. The reason Peggy and Maddie noticed Vanda's absence was because Vanda had met them late to school. They had waited and waited for Vanda to have some fun with her, and she just had not come. So now we are being introduced to another two character. So on Tuesday she was absent. Again on Wednesday. Now it's Wednesday. We are being introduced to Peggy and Maddie, another two girls of that class. And these two girls, out of these two, Peggy, she is regarded as the most popular girl of that school. And she was regarded superior. Why she was regarded superior? Because she got good marks. And she did not track in a whole lot of mud. It means she come from a high class society. From the area which is posh. She comes from a posh area. The area which belongs to rich people. And she was quite popular. She had many pretty dresses. And her hair was curly. So all this shows her standard. So this is why she was being noticed. While the other, Vanda Petronsky, she was never being noticed by anyone. But at the same time, this girl Peggy, because she come from a rich society, she had good clothes, she got good marks, she got noticed, and she was popular among everyone in the school. And Maddie, she was the closest friend, she was the fast friend of Peggy. The reason Peggy and Maddie noticed Vanda's absence, and this is now the reason is given that why on that day, why on Wednesday, absence of Vanda Petronsky was felt. That is the reason is being given over here. That is, they have waited before school in the morning. Before coming to the school, they have waited in the morning for Vanda. And why they have waited? So that they can make fun of her. So in order to wait for her in the morning before arriving to school, to make joke of her, to make fun of her, they got late to school. And that's why they noticed the absence of Vanda that day. It was not because they were friends or they were classmates and therefore they noticed the absence of Vanda. They noticed it because they were not able to make fun of her. They got late because of her to the school, because they were waiting for her to make fun of her. They often waited for Vanda Petronsky to have fun with her. So this type of activity they used to do regularly. They often used to wait for Vanda out of the school, and often they used to make fun of Vanda Petronsky. So till now we saw that there are three main characters in this story, that is Vanda Petronsky, Peggy and Maddie. So Vanda Petronsky belongs to a low area. She is a Polish girl with a strange name, who is quite silent, who used to sit in the last row and the last bench. And another Peggy and Maddie who sits at the front bench in the front row. And Peggy was quite popular because she belongs to a high class society. She was rich, she had many dresses, she was pretty, she had many clothes, she had curly hair, and that's why she was popular in the school. And Maddie, she was the fastest, she was the closest friend of Peggy. Wanda Petronsky, most of the children in room 13 did not have name like that. They had names easy to say like Thomas Smith or Ellen. There was one boy named Bounce, Willie Bounce, and people thought that was funny, but not funny in the same way that Petronsky was. So earlier in the previous paragraph we saw that this girl was being differentiated because of her dress, because she belongs to a poor society, because she used to sit on the last bench, because she don't have many clothes, many dresses. And the another reason we come to know that is because of her name, because she had a strange name, because the student of that class of room number 13, they don't have these types of names. Their names was quite easy to pronounce. Only the name of only one boy, that is Willie Bounce, was little bit different. Otherwise all the names was quite familiar to them. It was quite easy to pronounce, but Wanda Petronsky was something strange to them, and that's why even they used to make fun of her name. Wanda did not have any friends. She came to school alone and went home alone. She always wore a faded blue dress that did not hang right. It was clean, but it looked as though it had never been ironed properly. She did not have any friend, but a lot of girls talked to her. Sometimes they surrounded her in a school yard as she stood watching the little girls play hopscotch on the worn hard ground. So now it is being said in this paragraph, Wanda, she don't had any friend. She don't have any friend. She used to come to school all alone, and she used to return back to home all alone. And she used to always wear same faded blue dress, which did not hang right. Hang right, it means which did not fit properly, which was not according to her size. Although it was clean, but it was not ironed properly for a long time. So again, her dress is being discussed. Earlier the area from which she belonged was discussed, then her name was discussed, now her dress is being discussed. As a student in a school, her talent, her skills, her ability to learn and study is not being discussed yet. So now it is being said that she had no friend and she always wore same blue faded dress, which was not ironed and which was not according to her size. And sometimes a lot of girls were seen talking to her. They used to surround her, they used to encircle her, and perhaps they used to make fun of her. They used to surround her as if they used to watch this little girl, this small children playing hopscotch. Now what is hopscotch? Hopscotch, it's a game in which children hop into and over square marked on the ground. So this is a game played by small children. So they used to surround children while they were playing hopscotch. Similarly, they used to surround Wanda Petronsky as if she was a game or she was a butt of joke. They used to surround her in order to make fun of her. Wanda, Peggy would say in a most courteous manner as though she were talking to Miss Mason. Wanda, she would say, giving one of her friends a nudge. Tell us, how many dresses did you say you had hanging up in your closet? 100, Wanda would say. So now this is how they used to make fun of her. They have developed a game in order to make fun of her. So they used to surround her And then Peggy in a very courteous manner, that is in a very polite manner, pretending to be polite, but she was making fun of her, and she used to get a nudge to her friend. It means she used to push her friend to see that how she is going to respond to her question, so that they can laugh at her, they can make her a butt of joke, they can make her a fun. They used to ask that how many dresses do you have in your closet? Then Wanda used to reply 100. 100! Exclaimed all the little girls incredulously, and the little ones would stop playing hopscotch and listen. So those children who would be playing hopscotch there, even they used to stop, and in a manner, they used to respond in a manner that they are not going to believe. Incredulously, it means showing unwillingness to believe. So they used to respond in a way that she is not going to believe that that girl Wanda Petronsky may have 100 dresses hanging in her closet. Why they could not believe? That it may be that she used to wear only one blue faded dress every day, and that's why perhaps they were not able to, they never believed that she had 100 dresses in her closet. Yeah, 100, all lined up, said Wanda. Then her thin lips drew together in silence. What are they like? All silk, I bet, said Peggy. Yeah, all silk, all colors. Velvet too. Yeah, velvet too. 100 dresses, Wanda would repeat stolidly, all lined up in my closet. So they used to continue making fun of her. After asking how many dresses she had, they used to ask that definitely, I bet that all your clothes might be of silk. Then she used to respond, yes, all are silk. Then they used to ask, and I think there might be velvet as well. She used to respond, yes, I have velvet as well. And she always reply in a plain manner. Stolidly, it means without showing any emotion, without showing any feeling. She used to reply all the question without showing any anguish, without showing any emotion, in a plain manner, with a confidence in her face, and she used to respond to all the questions. Then they had let her go, and then before she had gone far, very far, they could not help bursting into shriek and peals of laughter. And then after all this stupid question, they would allow us, they used to allow her to let go. And as soon as she turned from that point, she go away from that point, all of them used to start laughing at her. They can't control their laugh. And as soon as she disappeared from that point, they used to stop laughing at her. 100 dresses. Obviously, the only dress Wanda had was the blue one she wore every day. So, why did she say she had 100 dresses? What a story! So they used to make fun, and they used to discuss her in her group that she had only one dress which she wear daily. Then why she used to make a story? Why she used to tell a lie that she had 100 dresses? If she would have 100 dresses, then definitely she would may have worn it every day. She would have changed her dresses, but she used to wear only one dress. Then why she say that she have 100 dresses? It means it's a plain lie. Then another question what they used to ask, how many shoes did you say you had? 60 pairs all lined up in my closet. Cries of exaggerated politeness greeted this. All alike? Oh no, every pair is different, all colors, all lined up. So again they used to ask about shoes. How many shoes do you have? She used to reply that 60 pairs, all lined up in closet. And again they used to heighten the matter to make more fun of her. They used to ask that are they all alike? Are they all same? She used to say no, all are different. All pairs of shoes are different, are of different designs, or all are of different colors. None of them are same. Peggy, who had thought up this game, and Maddie, her inseparable friend, were always the last to leave. Finally, Wanda would move up to the street, her eyes dull and her mouth closed, hitching her left shoulder very now and then in the funny way she had, finishing the walk to the school alone. So, this is how the group of girls used to make fun of Wanda very often. And out of all those girls of that group, Peggy and Maddie used to be the last one who used to leave that spot. Here it has been said that Maddie, she was the inseparable friend of Peggy. So she was always with her. So she used to leave, Wanda used to leave from that point. She used to walk all alone to the school. No one used to walk with her, and hitching her shoulder, hitching her left shoulder. Hitching, it means that is pushing with a jerk. It means she used to make movement. She used to make a jerk movement of her left shoulder, and she used to walk all alone to the school. Peggy was not really cruel. She protected small children from bullies, and she cried for hours if she saw an animal mistreated. If anybody had said to her, "Don't you think that is a cruel way to treat Wanda?" she would have been very surprised. Cruel? Why did the girl say she had 100 dresses? Anybody could tell that that was a lie. Why did she want to lie? And she wasn't just an ordinary person, else why did she have a name like that? Anyway, they never made her cry. So now this paragraph is about Peggy. It has been said that she was not that much cruel, she was not harsh. She was not always like that making fun of everyone, and she was not emotionless. It is being said that she often saved small children who was being bullied by other children. She had always been protective to small children and toward animal as well. But the thing is, then if she was so polite, then why she was cruel, why she always mocked Wanda? If someone asked her that why she used to treat Wanda like that, then she used to say that the girl used to lie. She used to lie. If she don't have dresses, then why she used to lie? Why don't she say truth? And then again, second thing which was pointed at, anyway, she is not an ordinary person. Why she is not an ordinary person? Because her name was a little bit strange. Her name sounds different from theirs name, and therefore she thinks that she is not an ordinary person. However, it is being said that she was a little bit soft, and due to which she never made Wanda cry. As for Maddie, this business of asking Wanda every day how many dresses and how many hats and how many things, how many this and that she had was bothering her. Maddie was poor. Maddie was poor herself. She usually wore somebody's hand-me-down clothes. Thank goodness she did not live in Bogginside or have a funny name. So now we are being said about Maddie. This girl Maddie, she was herself poor. She used to wear somebody's hand-me-down clothes. It means she used to wear the clothes which was given to her by someone. She used to wear used clothes of someone. But only because she did not come from Bogginside, and only because she don't have funny name, she was not being mocked at. But this act of teasing mocking and making fun of Wanda did not please her. She did not find it pleasant. She was worried about it. Sometimes when Peggy was asking about those questions in that mocking polite voice, Maddie felt embarrassed and studied the marble in the palm of her hand, rolling them round and saying nothing herself. Not that she felt sorry for Wanda exactly. She would never have paid any attention to Wanda if Peggy had not invented the dress game. But suppose Peggy and all others started in on her next. She wasn't as poor as Wanda, perhaps, but she was poor. Of course, she would have more sense than to say she had 100 dresses. Still, she would not like for them to begin on her. She wished Peggy would stop teasing Wanda Petronsky. Now, this is the feeling. In this paragraph, the feeling of Wanda is being expressed that this girl, she was herself poor, and therefore she have empathy for Wanda Petronsky. She can feel that how she felt, and she never herself made fun of Wanda. While Peggy used to ask those embarrassing questions, those questions to make fun of her, at that time she found herself lost in herself. She used to turn deaf ear to all those questions, and they used to busy herself in the marbles which were there in her hand, because she know that even she is poor, and she used to think about herself, then how she would have felt if the same game would have been played with her. But out of fear, she had never resisted, she had never gone against this game, and she had never spoken a word to Peggy about this game. She had never said a single word against this game. And she thinks that perhaps she wished from her inner heart, from the core of her heart, that this game of dresses should come to an end, because she don't like it. May be because she was herself a poor. She can feel the pain of Wanda, what she feel and how she felt. Today, even though they had been late to school, Maddie was glad she had not had to make fun of Wanda. She worked her arithmetic problems absent-mindedly. 8 times 8, let's see. She wished she had the nerve to write Peggy a note, because she knew she never would have the courage to speak right out to Peggy, to say, "Hey Peg, let's stop asking Wanda how many dresses she has." So now today on Wednesday, as they were late to school, even though Maddie was happy. Why she was happy? Because today she did not make fun of Peggy, and she had not make fun of Wanda because she was absent. And when she came to school, she made herself busy in solving problems of mathematics, but at the same time something else was going on in her mind. She thought that she would write a note, she would write a letter to Peggy requesting her not to make fun of Wanda, requesting her to stop this game of asking questions to Wanda. But she could not speak to her directly on this topic. She don't have enough courage to speak to her or to go against her what she was doing. When she finished her arithmetic, she did start a note to Peggy. Suddenly she paused and shuddered. She pictured herself in the schoolyard, a new target for Peggy and the girls. Peggy might ask her where she got the dress that she had on, and Maddie would have to say it was one of Peggy's old one that Maddie's mother had tried to disguise with new trimming so no one in the room 13 would recognize it. So now comes the reason that why Maddie never tried to go against Wanda. Sorry, against Peggy. So the reason is being given in this paragraph, that she herself was wearing the hand down clothes of no else than Peggy. Those dresses which she used to wear, which Maddie used to wear, was the clothes which was given to Maddie's mother by Peggy's mother, which was the used clothes of Peggy. But her mother, Maddie's mother, used to trim it, used to draw some other design so that no other student of room number 13 may recognize it. So that day she decided to write a letter to Peggy to stop asking her to stop making that fun of her. But she could not write it. She paused. She started writing after solving her arithmetic sums, but she paused after a while and she stopped writing it. And she started trembling when a thought came to her mind. What came to her mind? That if she will write this letter, then it may be that she will become the next target of Peggy and other girls, and she started imagining herself in the place of Wanda and other girls making fun of her. And therefore, she could not gear up, she could not collect enough courage to write against Peggy. If only Peggy would decide of her own accord to stop having fun with Wanda. Oh well, Maddie ran her hand through her short blonde hair as though to push the uncomfortable thoughts away. What difference did it make? Slowly Maddie tore into bits the notes she had started. She was Peggy's best friend and Peggy was the best liked girl in the whole room. Peggy could not possibly do anything that was really wrong, she thought. So she was obliged, Maddie was obliged to Peggy. Why? Because she was wearing the used clothes of Peggy and therefore she don't even have courage to go against Peggy. So whatever note she has written for Peggy, she tore it and she herself became uncomfortable. She herself became fearful and afraid with a thought that if she will write, if she will go against Peggy, then it may be that she will become the next Wanda of that campus and all girls will start making fun of her. So, and then she thought that after all Peggy is her best friend and she is the best girl of the school. So whatever she is doing, it may be that it's alright. As for Wanda, she was just some girl who lived up in Bogginside and stood alone in the schoolyard. She scarcely ever said anything to anybody. The only time she talked was in a schoolyard about her 100 dresses. Maddie remembered her telling about one of her dresses, pale blue with colored trimming. And she remembered another that was brilliant jungle green with a red sash. You would look like a Christmas tree in that, the girls had said in pretended admiration. So now he gave away that thought. He gave away the thought of asking Peggy, requesting her to stop making fun of Wanda. And she thought that after all Peggy is her best friend and who is Wanda? She is no one to her. She is just an insignificant girl of the school who comes or who lives in a Bogginside, and she is someone who is not even noticed, she is someone to whom she never even talk, or they used to talk to her only because they used to make fun of her, asking about the 100 dresses. At that time she gets reminded of her reply, the reply of Wanda, when she used to discuss the dresses. She has discussed two dresses, the one pale blue with colored trimming and the another dress which was green in color, brilliant jungle green in color with a red sash. And when she said about that I had 100 dresses and out of that two, she has described the two dresses, the one which is pale blue in color with trimming and the another dress which was brilliant green, jungle green in color and with a red sash. Then the other girls who was making fun of her standing there, they taunted her that definitely if you will wear that jungle green dress, you will look like a Christmas tree. Thinking about Wanda and her 100 dresses all lined up in the closet, Maddie began to wonder who was going to win the drawing and coloring contest. For girls, this contest consisted of designing dresses and for boys of designing motorboats. Probably Peggy would win the girls' medal. Peggy drew better than anyone else in the room. At least that's what everybody thought. She could copy a picture in a magazine or some film star's head so that you could almost tell who it was. Oh, Maddie was sure Peggy would win. Well, tomorrow the teacher was going to announce the winner, then they would know. So now while Maddie was thinking about the dresses she had described, the dresses which Wanda has described while describing her 100 dresses, she got reminded of the competition, the contest which was going on in her school, for which the result was to be announced the following day, the next day, that is on tomorrow. So it was a drawing and coloring competition. For girls, it consists of designing dresses and boys were supposed to design motorboats. So she was thinking that who is going to win, and then only one name came to her mind, and that was Peggy. She thought that definitely Peggy is going to win because she was expert. She was expert at the art of drawing and painting. She can even copy the picture of film stars. She can copy everything. She could copy anything. She was very good at drawing, and therefore only one name came to her mind, that it is going to be only Peggy who is going to be the winner of that contest. And then she says to herself that okay, no problem, tomorrow definitely the result is going to come, the teacher is going to announce the name. The next day it was drizzling. Maddie and Peggy hurried to school under Peggy's umbrella. Naturally, on a day like this, they did not wait for Wanda Petronsky on the corner of Oliver Street. The street dapped far, far away under the railroad track and up the hill led to Bogginside. Anyway, they were not taking chance on being late today because today was important. So the next day it was drizzling. Drizzling, it means raining, light rain. So light rain was falling, and that day was important because the result was going to be announced, and therefore that day they did not wait at the point where they used to wait for Wanda Petronsky at the Oliver Street corner. So today, as it was drizzling as well, and the most importantly the result was to be announced, and therefore they did not thought it good to waste time stopping at the corner of the Oliver Street, from where the one road leads to Bogginside and another road leads to their home. Do you think Miss Mason will announce the winners today? Asked Peggy. Oh, I hope the minute we get in, said Maddie. Of course you will win, Peg. Hope so, said Peggy eagerly. So both of them were discussing that whether the result will be announced today or not. Then Maddie says definitely as soon as we reach in the school, definitely the result is going to announce, and without any doubt you are going to be the winner. She said hope so eagerly, that definitely it may be hoping for the best, that yes, she may win. The minute they entered the classroom, they stopped short and gasped. They were drawing all over the room on every ledge and windowsill, dazzling colors and brilliant lavish designs, all drawn on a great sheet of wrapping paper. There must have been 100 of them all lined up. This must be drawing of the contest they were. Everyone stopped and whistled or murmured admiringly. So now As soon as they entered their classroom, they stopped. They stopped, sought and gasped. Now what is gasped? Gasp is to catch one's breath without opening mouth. It means they were totally surprised. As soon as they entered the classroom, they were surprised. They were surprised to see something. Now what was that? That was the drawing which was hanging all over the room, on the ledge, on the window sill. So everywhere the drawing was displayed. It was hanging all around the room. It was quite brilliant. It was lavishly designed, very grand in design, and they thought that definitely it was the drawing of the contestant. It means the competition which was going to the competition for which the result was going to be announced. They thought that definitely all these drawings are from that competition only. So everyone stood there, stopped there, had a look of it, and they all started admiring, praising all those pictures, the painting which was being hanged in that room. As soon as the class had assembled, Miss Mason announced the winner. Jack Bagels had won for the boys, she said, and his design for an outboard motor was on exhibition in room 12, along with the sketch by all other boys. So the result, now it's a time for announcement of the result. All the students have assembled in the room. Miss Mason came and she announced the result. Among boys, Jack Bagels had won the prize. He has designed outward motorboat, and all the sketches of boys was on exhibition, was on display in room number 12. Now it's turn for girls. As for girls, he said, although just one or two sketches were submitted by most, one girl and room number 13 should be proud of her. This one girl actually drew 100 designs, all different and all beautiful. In the opinion of the judges, any one of the drawing is worthy of winning the prize. I am very happy to say that Wanda Petronsky is the winner of the girls' medal. So now she had made the announcement of the winner of girls. Among the girls, she said that most of the girls has submitted one or two sketches, not more than that. But one girl of this room number 13 has submitted 100 designs, and she said that all students sitting in this room number 13 should be proud of her. They should feel proud of Wanda Petronsky. She said that she had submitted 100 designs, and all the designs are different, all are beautiful, and she said that judges had made a comment that each and every design is worthy of winning the prize. And at last she announced the name of winner, and that was Wanda Petronsky. Unfortunately, Wanda has been absent from the school for some day and is not here to receive the applause that is due to her. Let us hope she will be back tomorrow. Now class, you may file around the room quietly and look at her exquisite drawing. And she said that these days Wanda is absent, and therefore she is not here to receive her prize as well as applause, and therefore we should hope that she may come tomorrow. And then she asked a student to have a look of all those pictures which was extremely beautiful lined up in that room, and they can see all those images, all those pictures made by Wanda which was lying in the room, and as well as the pictures, the paintings of other students was also being lined up in there. The children burst into applause, and even the boys were glad to have a chance to stamp on the floor, but their fingers in their mouth and whistle, though they were not interested in dresses. So everyone, they suddenly and spontaneously they started clapping, and the boys also, they also started stamping on the floor, though they were not interested in the dresses of girls. They were interested in the design of boats and motorboats. Look, Peg, whispered Maddie. There's that one, that blue one she told us about. Isn't it beautiful? Yes, said Peggy, and there's that green one, boy, and I thought I could draw. So then at that time, Maddie get reminded of the description of the dress which she has given, which Wanda has given, while they were mocking her, while they were making fun of her. The two dresses, the one which was blue colored, blue in color, light blue in color, with a trimming, and the second one which was green in color, jungle green in color, on which they had commented that if she will wear it, she will look like a Christmas tree. And then they got reminded of those dress she has described about while they were looking at the painting which was there in the room. And she said, Peggy said that she and the boy had thought that they may have, that she would draw that image. This is all about the part 1 of this story. We saw in this story that Wanda Petronsky, who belongs to a poor society, had a strange name, come from a low area, and therefore a place in the school which is a place of education and knowledge, where talent should have been recognized. Instead of looking for her talent and her ability to learn and study, her dress, she was being judged on the basis of her dress, she was being judged on the basis of the area, she was being judged on the basis of her name, which is not good, which is not something which is good. And at last we saw that she was most talented among all the other students of that school, and therefore instead of judging anyone on their outward appearance, we should judge person by their knowledge, by their skills. This is what we will learn from this story. We should never judge a person by their situation, by their position, by their wealth, by their name, by the region from where they belongs to. This is all about this story. If you have any doubt, write in our comment box. Thank you for watching this video.